This wasn't her wedding. Anna's hands trembled as a stranger adjusted her veil in the small chapel vestibule. White roses she'd never chosen, music she didn't recognize, faces she'd never seen before. Her chest tightened. She'd walked through the wrong door. But now the processional was starting and everyone was standing, turning toward her with expectant smiles. She couldn't breathe, couldn't move, couldn't scream the truth. Then the man at the altar turned, tall, dark suit. Calm gray eyes that found hers across the chapel. He saw her panic, the way her fingers twisted the unfamiliar bouquet, the terror barely hidden behind her veil. He could expose her, call out the mistake, humiliate her in front of everyone. Instead, he stepped forward, extended his hand, steady, quiet, like an anchor in a storm. "It's all right," he said softly, "just for her. I've got you." For the first time in months, she could breathe. That morning had started with silence. Anna woke at dawn in Owen's apartment, the engagement ring heavy on her finger, the wedding dress hanging in the closet. 2 days, just 2 more days until she walked down an aisle toward a man who'd spent 18 months making her smaller. She lay still, listening to Owen's breathing beside her, and felt the familiar tightness in her chest. The coffee incident happened at breakfast. Anna held her mug the way she always had. Owen reached across the table, repositioned her fingers. "Like this," he said patiently. "It looks more refined, Anna. People notice these things." Something inside her cracked. She set the mug down, stood, walked to the bedroom while Owen called after her, confused and irritated. "Anna, where are you going?" "We have the venue walk through in an hour." She pulled her 2 suitcases from the closet, the ones she'd never fully unpacked. Owen appeared in the doorway. "What are you doing?" "You're having cold feet." "It's normal. It's not cold feet." Anna folded a sweater. It's clarity. Owen's expression shifted. "You're being dramatic. Where would you even go? You have no family. Your apartment is gone. Everything you have is here." The words landed heavy, trapping, but Anna kept packing. "I'll figure it out." Anna, his voice hardened. "If you walk out that door, you're making a mistake you'll regret. No one else will understand you like I do." Her hands stilled for a moment, the old fear rising. Then she zipped the suitcase closed. "Goodbye, Owen." She walked past him down the stairs, into her sedan. Owen followed her to the parking lot. "This is childish. Come back inside." She started the engine. Her phone lit up immediately. "Where are you going?" Kept driving north with no plan except away. 6 hours later, exhaustion hit. Her hands ached from gripping the wheel. Her eyes burned. The chapel appeared through afternoon light, small stone building among October trees. A sign, Historic Beaumont Chapel. Anna pulled into the empty lot. She just needed to sit somewhere quiet, catch her breath. The chapel had 2 entrances. She chose the side door. "Oh, thank God you're here. We were getting worried." Anna opened her mouth to explain, but the older woman was already taking her arm. "You look pale, dear. Just nerves. Every bride feels this way. Come quickly." "I'm not." Anna tried, they didn't hear. The younger woman opened a door to a small changing room. 5 minutes until the ceremony starts. "We need to get you ready." Inside, a wedding dress hung on a stand. White, elegant, waiting. Everyone's already seated. "Mr. Beaumont is waiting," the younger woman said, adjusting something delicate and white over Anna's hair. "A veil?" Anna's throat closed. The words wouldn't come. They never did when she needed them most. A bouquet appeared in her hands. White roses and eucalyptus. The scent made her dizzy. The women opened the inner doors. And at the end of the aisle, a man in a dark suit whose gray eyes met hers with immediate recognition that something was wrong. Anna's legs moved, not because she chose to, because the women behind her were guiding her forward. The man at the altar saw. He stepped forward, extended his hand, steady, calm, like an anchor. Held on, and the ceremony began. Matthias Beaumont had been standing at the altar for 3 minutes, watching the door and trying to maintain the composed expression his grandmother expected, when a stranger in a wedding dress appeared. Not Caroline Ashford. Not the cool, practical woman who'd agreed to 6 months of polite pretense in exchange for a generous settlement. This woman had light brown hair catching afternoon light through stained glass, wide dark eyes that darted toward the exit like a trapped animal measuring distance, hands trembling so violently the bouquet shook. Matthias's chest constricted. Behind him, his grandmother sat in the front pew. Eleanor Beaumont at 93, frail and fading, her face lit with such pure joy it made his throat burn. She'd orchestrated this entire arrangement because her dying wish was to see him married before she passed. Before she released the Beaumont estate fully into his care, he'd agreed to the transactional ceremony because it seemed a small price. 6 months of pretense, no love, no risk. Then a quiet divorce and grandmother could die believing he wasn't alone. But this wasn't Caroline. The woman walked toward him like she was drowning. Each step, visible effort. Matthias made a decision in the space between heartbeats. He stepped forward, extended his hand, met her terrified eyes with the steadiest calm he could summon. She reached the altar, lifted her face, mouthed 2 words behind the veil. Wrong wedding. Matthias took her hand, felt it trembling violently in his, leaned close enough that only she could hear. "I know," he whispered. "Just breathe." Matthias barely heard the words. All his focus narrowed to the terrified woman beside him, whose pulse raced visibly at her throat. Drew small, grounding circles against her palm with his thumb. "Matthias Beaumont," the officiant intoned. "Do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife?" Behind him, his grandmother dabbed at happy tears. Matthias looked at the stranger, whose hand shook in his, and said clearly, "I do." The officiant turned to her. "And do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband?" She stared at Matthias, eyes wide, terrified, silently begging him for permission to run. He squeezed her hand gently, nodded almost imperceptibly, tried to convey with his expression alone, "It's all right. You're safe. Whatever you need to do." She swallowed hard, whispered, "I do." The officiant smiled. "I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride." Matthias lifted the veil slowly, giving her every chance to pull away, to stop this. Instead, she stayed frozen. Brown eyes locked on his. He cupped her face gently, brushed the softest kiss against her forehead instead of her lips, let it linger just long enough to seem intentional. "You're safe," he whispered against her temple. "I promise," she exhaled, small, shaking, but some of the terror left her eyes. The guests applauded. His grandmother wept openly. And Matthias Beaumont married a woman whose name he didn't even know while October light painted everything gold through the windows, and his heart pounded with the weight of what he'd just done. The reception blurred past in champagne and well wishes. Anna sat beside Matthias at the head table, his presence the only solid thing in a world that had turned surreal. Every few minutes his hand would cover hers when her panic became too visible. His voice low and steady whenever anyone directed a question her way. "She's overwhelmed," he'd say smoothly. "It's been a beautiful but exhausting day." No one questioned it. Why would they? He was calm, protective, utterly convincing in his role as devoted groom. Anna watched him navigate conversations with ease, accepting congratulations, thanking guests, playing the part flawlessly while she sat mute beside him, drowning in wedding cake and toasts to a marriage that wasn't real. But his hand kept finding hers under the table, steady, grounding. By the time the last guest departed, the sun had set, and Anna's entire body ached with exhaustion. Matthias guided her through the emptying hall to a quiet library. "I'm so sorry," Anna said immediately. Her voice cracked on the words. "I walked through the wrong door. I thought it was just a chapel. I didn't know there was a wedding. I didn't mean to ruin everything. I'll explain to everyone. I'll fix this. I'll breathe," Matthias said quietly. He poured 2 glasses of water from a crystal pitcher, handed her one. "Just breathe for a moment." Anna took the glass with shaking hands, drank, tried to steady herself. Matthias sat across from her in a leather chair, loosening his tie slightly. For the first time since the ceremony, he looked tired. "What's your name?" Anna Sinclair." "Matthias Beaumont." He studied her face with quiet intensity. "And you didn't ruin anything, Anna. You probably saved it, actually." She blinked. "I don't understand." He was quiet for a long moment. Outside, October wind moved through the trees. "The woman I was supposed to marry today didn't want to be here either," Matthias said finally. "It was an arrangement, a transaction to satisfy my grandmother's dying wish, before she releases the family estate into my care. 6 months of pretending to be happily married, then a quiet divorce, no love involved. Just mutual benefit." Anna's chest tightened. "But I'm not her." "No," Matthias agreed softly. "You're not. So what happens now?" "When she arrives and realizes I'm here instead." "She's not coming," Matthias said. "Caroline texted this morning. She met someone real." She backed out of the arrangement. Anna stared at him. Then, who did everyone think I was? I never told my grandmother Caroline's name, never showed her a photo. She's too ill for details. She just knew I was getting married today, and she was so happy she didn't ask questions. His jaw tightened. When you walked down that aisle in her place, I had a choice. Expose the mistake and break my grandmother's heart on what might be her last happy day, or protect you both and deal with the consequences later. You chose to protect me, Anna whispered. You don't even know me. I know you were terrified, Matthias said quietly. I know you couldn't speak, couldn't escape, and I know what it's like when the world backs you into a corner and expects you to perform. Tears burned Anna's eyes. Where were you going? Matthias asked. Before you walked into the wrong chapel. Anna's throat closed, away from someone who made me feel small. The words came out broken. I was supposed to marry him in 2 days. I finally left this morning. His gray eyes held hers with such steady understanding that something in Anna's chest cracked open. The arrangement I had with Caroline still stands legally, he said carefully. A marriage certificate was signed. My grandmother believes we're married. She's dying, Anna. If I tell her the truth now, that I lied about having someone, that this was all theater, it will break her heart. You want me to pretend to be your wife? I want to offer you a safe place while you figure out what comes next. Matthias corrected gently. 6 months. You'd live here in your own space, your own room, no employment, no debt, no strings attached. Just time and protection while you rebuild your life. No pressure. No demands. Why would you do that for a stranger? His jaw tightened. Because I know what it's like when someone takes everything from you and leaves you empty. And because you're terrified right now, and I have the resources to help without it costing me anything that matters, I can't pay you, Anna whispered. I'm not asking you to. Then what do you get out of this? Matthias held her gaze. My grandmother's peace in her final months, and maybe the chance to help someone who needs it more than I need. Another empty transaction. Anna looked at the stranger who'd protected her through a ceremony that wasn't theirs, who'd seen her panic and responded with steadiness instead of judgment, who offered shelter without demanding anything in return. Owen's voice echoed through her memory. No one else will understand you like I do. No one else will be this patient. But this man had understood her terror in seconds, had protected her without hesitation. 6 months, Matthias agreed. Then you're free to go wherever you want. No questions. No judgment, no strings. She nodded slowly, exhausted, cautious, but something that felt almost like hope stirred in her chest. Matthias extended his hand across the space between them. Partners. Anna took it, felt the same steadiness that had anchored her at the altar. Partners. The first week passed in careful stillness. The room was larger than her entire apartment, with Owen had been high ceilings, windows that let in morning light, a private bathroom with a clawfoot tub. It's yours, Matthias said simply. For as long as you need it. He gave her space after that, asked nothing, simply ensured she had everything necessary, then disappeared into his own routines, giving her room to breathe, eating when she was hungry without commentary on her choices, moving through beautiful rooms without fear of doing something wrong. The estate itself was stunning, not ostentatious, just quietly elegant, in the way old money whispered instead of shouted. Library filled with first editions. Conservatory where light poured through tall windows. Gardens with stone paths winding through trees that dropped leaves like copper coins. She'd find Matthias there sometimes. Reading in the library, walking the grounds alone, cooking simple meals in the large kitchen. He'd nod when he saw her, offer a quiet good morning, then give her space. No demands. No expectations, just presence without pressure. On the third day, Anna turned her phone back on. 23 messages from Owen appeared immediately. Where are you? This is childish and embarrassing. I deserve an explanation. Everyone's asking about you. You're making me look bad. You can't just run away from problems, Anna. Answer me. Her hands shook, reading them. The old guilt rising, the certainty that she was being unreasonable, dramatic, difficult. Anna blocked Owen's number. Matthias looked up from his coffee, saw something in her expression. What happened? My ex-fiancé. Her voice came out thin. He sent messages. A lot of them. I blocked him. Matthias set down his mug carefully. What's his name? Owen Sinclair. If he contacts you again through other means, tell me immediately. Something hard entered Matthias's voice. Something protective. Okay. I mean it, Anna. If he finds you, if he shows up, if he makes you feel unsafe in any way, you tell me. Such a small gesture. But Owen had always made her ask, always made her feel like she was interrupting his day with her needs. Thank you, Anna whispered. You don't need to thank me for basic kindness, Matthias said quietly. But she did. Because basic kindness had become extraordinary. 2 weeks into the arrangement, Anna set up her illustration supplies in the conservatory. She hadn't drawn in months. Owen had called her work cute, in a tone that made it sound like an insult. Said she should focus on more practical skills, or refined hobbies. But the conservatory called to her, all that light, all that space. She spread watercolors across a small table, positioned her sketchpad, and for the first time since leaving, allowed herself to create. A fox appeared under her brush, small, gentle, finding shelter in a hollow tree during a storm, then a rabbit joining it, then a deer. Different creatures, different fears, all finding the same safe space together. Anna lost herself in the work, in color and light, and the quiet magic of making something beautiful from nothing. She didn't notice Matthias until she felt his presence, looked up to find him in the doorway, watching with an expression she couldn't quite read. I'm sorry, she said quickly. I should have asked before using this space. Don't apologize. He moved closer, studying the illustration taking shape. You're very talented, Anna flushed. It's just children's books. It's not just anything. Matthias's voice held quiet conviction. You make the world gentler, Anna. That's a rare gift. She stared at him. Owen had diminished her work, made her feel foolish for creating worlds of safety and kindness. But Matthias looked at her illustration like it mattered. Like she mattered. Thank you, she said softly. I have a meeting in town this afternoon. My grandmother's cottage. Would you like to come? No pressure. But she'd like to meet you properly. Anna's stomach clenched. I'm not good at lying. Then don't lie, Matthias said simply. Just be yourself. That's all she wants to see. That I'm not alone. But you are alone, am I? His gray eyes held hers. You're here. That's more than I've had in 16 years. Something shifted in Anna's chest. Okay. I'll come that afternoon. They drove through fall countryside to a small cottage on the estate grounds. Eleanor Beaumont answered the door, smaller and frailer than Anna expected, but with sharp knowing eyes that took in everything. Anna, she said warmly, pulling her into a gentle embrace. How lovely to finally meet you properly. Inside, over tea and homemade scones, Eleanor asked about Anna's work, her family, how she and Matthias met. Anna kept her answers honest and vague. Not planned, just recognized. As they were leaving, Anna's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She glanced at it. Froze text. I know you're with him. This is pathetic, Anna. Running to some rich stranger because you're too weak to handle real life. Come home. Stop embarrassing yourself, Owen. Using a different number. Her hands started shaking, the old fear flooding back. Matthias gently took the phone. Read the message. His jaw turned to stone. Get in the car, he said quietly. Anna obeyed on trembling legs. Matthias drove them back to the main house in silence. Then, in the library, he sat her down and took her hands. Anna, look at me. She met his eyes. You are not weak. You are not pathetic. And you are not running. You made the strongest choice possible. You left. That takes more courage than staying ever would. He thinks I'm hiding behind you, she whispered. You're not hiding. You're healing. Matthias's grip tightened. And I'm going to make something very clear. You are under my protection now. If Owen Sinclair contacts you again, I will handle it. Legally, completely. You don't have to face him alone anymore, do you understand? Tears slipped down Anna's face. Why are you being so kind to me? Because you deserve kindness, Matthias said simply. And because I'm beginning to suspect that protecting you might be the most important thing I've done in a very long time. The fireplace crackled. Outside, November rain started falling. Rain turned to early snow. The Beaumont estate settled into quiet winter beauty. Anna found rhythms in the stillness, morning coffee in the conservatory, watching frost patterns form on windows. Afternoons painting while snow fell softly outside. Evenings in the library with Matthias, both of them reading in companionable silence that felt like its own form of conversation. They began talking more. Small things at first. What's your favorite book? Anna asked one evening. Matthias looked up from his reading. East of Eden, The Secret Garden. I've read it 37 times. 37, exactly. I count. She smiled slightly. It's about finding a place that's yours, where you can grow. I needed that message a lot. Matthias watched her with quiet intensity. You have that now. This place. For as long as you need it. Warmth spread through her chest. They started eating dinner together, not every night, but often enough that Anna began setting to places without thinking. Matthias would cook sometimes. Simple, elegant meals. Anna would sit at the kitchen island and watch him move through the space with easy competence. Where did you learn to cook? She asked one evening, as he prepared roasted chicken with herbs. After my father died, Matthias said quietly, I was 26. I needed something I could control. Something that made sense. Cooking did that. How did he die? Heart attack. Sudden. One day he was here, the next he was gone. Matthias's hands stilled. My fiancée at the time, Vivian, stayed for 2 weeks. Then she told me she'd only been with me for the social connections. The family name, not for me. Never for me. Anna's throat tightened. I'm so sorry. It taught me something important, Matthias said, resuming his work with careful precision. People only stay when you offer them something valuable. Status, money, security. Love without transaction doesn't exist. That's not true, Anna said softly. He looked at her, isn't it? You left someone who wanted to control you. I was left by someone who wanted to use me. We're both here because real connection failed us, or because we hadn't found it yet. The words came out before Anna could stop them. Matthias held her gaze. Something shifted in his expression. Softened, maybe? The chicken timer went off. The moment passed, but something had changed between them. Later that week, Anna worked late in the conservatory, lost in an illustration of 2 creatures, different and wary, slowly approaching each other across a moonlit clearing. She didn't hear Matthias enter, only felt his presence when he spoke softly behind her. It's beautiful. Anna turned. Found him closer than expected, looking at her work with the same quiet admiration that always made her chest warm. It's about trust, she said. How scary it is. How necessary do you trust me? Matthias asked quietly. Anna met his eyes, gray and steady and completely focused on her. Yes, that terrifies me. Why? Because the last time I trusted someone, he spent 18 months making me doubt myself, making me small. Her voice cracked. You make me feel safe, but I don't know if I can trust my own judgment anymore. Matthias moved closer, slowly, giving her space to retreat. Instead, Anna stayed still. Anna? His voice was barely above a whisper. You are not small. You never were. You're gentle, yes. Kind, yes. But gentle isn't weak. Kind isn't worthless. Those are strengths that someone cruel tried to break because he couldn't control them. Tears burned her eyes. How do you know what to say? Because someone tried to break me too, Matthias said simply, cupped her face with infinite gentleness. His thumb brushed away a tear that had escaped. May I? He whispered. Anna's breath caught. She knew what he was asking, saw it in his eyes, in the way he leaned slightly closer, but waited, giving her all the power, all the choice. She nodded, barely, but he saw. Matthias kissed her forehead, soft, reverent, let his lips linger against her skin like a promise. Felt his arms come around her, solid and warm, and utterly steady. And for the first time in her life, she believed that someone's arms could be shelter instead of a cage. December arrived with deep snow and crystalline cold. Anna and Matthias moved through the estate like they were learning a new language together. Careful, tender testing. Still respected her need for solitude. His hand finding hers as they walked snowy gardens, sitting closer in the library. Small touches that felt enormous. One evening, Anna found Matthias in the library, staring into the fire with an expression that made her chest ache. She sat beside him quietly, waited. My father used to sit in this chair, Matthias said finally, every night, reading, drinking scotch, never once asking how I was, what I needed. If I was lonely in this enormous house, that sounds isolating, Anna said softly. It was. His jaw tightened. Vivian knew that. She used it, pretended to care, made me believe I mattered to her. He exhaled roughly. When she left, she told me I was useful, good for appearances, but not worth actually loving. Anna's hand found his. She was wrong, was she? Without the name. Just another damaged man who doesn't know how to connect. You're someone who saw a terrified stranger and chose to protect her without asking for anything in return, Anna said fiercely. You're someone who makes space for healing without demanding gratitude. You're someone who cooks me dinner and notices when I'm overwhelmed and gives me safety I didn't think existed. That's not useful, Matthias. That's invaluable. His breath caught. Anna, I'm terrified too, she interrupted. Because Owen made me believe kindness always came with conditions, that I had to earn basic respect, that love meant making myself smaller so someone else could feel bigger. Her voice cracked. But you make me feel like I can breathe. Like I don't have to perform or pretend or pay for the space I take up. And that terrifies me because I don't know how to trust this. Matthias turned fully toward her, cupped her face with both hands. Then, let's be terrified together. Let's build something real, even though we're both scared. Because Anna, when you're in a room, everything feels less empty. When you smile, it changes the air. And I don't know what this is between us, but I know I don't want it to end when the 6 months are up. Tears streamed down Anna's face. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm falling in love with you, Matthias whispered, and I don't know how to stop. I don't want to stop. Anna's heart cracked open. I'm falling in love with you too. His forehead pressed to hers. Even though I'm broken, you're not broken. You're careful. There's a difference. Even though this started as an arrangement, especially because of that, Anna breathed. Because we chose this, we keep choosing it. Soft at first, hesitant, his lips barely brushing hers, tasting her breath, giving her every chance to pull away. Instead, Anna leaned closer, kissed him back with everything she'd been too afraid to feel. Her hands fisted in his sweater, pulling him to her, choosing him the way he'd chosen her that day in the chapel. The kiss deepened. Matthias's hands moved into her hair, cradling her head like something precious. Anna felt his heart racing against her palm, felt his breath hitch when she parted her lips slightly, felt him respond with careful reverence that made her believe in safety all over again. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Matthias kept her close, forehead to forehead, hearts pounding together. This changes everything, he whispered. I know, Anna said. I'm still scared. Me too. His thumb traced her cheekbone. But I'd rather be scared with you than safe alone. She kissed him again, less hesitant this time, more certain. Outside, December snow fell silently over the Beaumont estate. Inside, two people who'd been running from heartbreak finally stopped long enough to hold on to something real. December deepened into the quiet before Christmas. The estate transformed under heavy snow, everything muffled and gentle. Anna painted more. Matthias watched her work sometimes, silent admiration in his eyes that still made her stomach flutter, her fingers brushing his as they passed coffee mugs. One afternoon, Anna stepped onto the stone terrace, despite the cold, needing air while her latest illustration dried. The flagstones were slick with ice, hidden under fresh powder. Her foot slipped. Anna gasped, arms windmilling, already anticipating the crack of her skull against stone. Strong hands caught her, pulled her back, steadied her against a solid chest. I've got you, Matthias said, his voice rough with fear. I've got you. Anna's heart pounded violently. She turned in his arms, found him white-faced, breathing hard, his hands shaking slightly where they gripped her waist. You almost fell, he said unnecessarily. You caught me, Anna. Her name came out broken. If you'd hit your head, if I hadn't been here. If she cupped his face, felt his jaw clenched tight. But you were here, I'm okay. Matthias pulled her closer, buried his face in her hair. His whole body trembled. I can't lose you. I know I don't have the right to feel that. I know this is still technically an arrangement. But, Anna, the thought of you hurt, of you gone, I'm not going anywhere, Anna whispered. He pulled back just enough to see her face. His eyes were fierce, raw. Promise me. Matthias, promise me. You'll be careful that you won't leave without telling me. To convince you to stay, Anna's throat burned. I promise. He kissed her then, desperate, deep like she might disappear if he let go. His hands cradled her face. Her neck moved into her hair with shaking fingers, while he poured every unspoken fear into the connection between them. Anna kissed him back with equal intensity, felt his heart racing against her chest, felt the tremor in his hands, felt how terrified he was of losing her. When they finally broke apart, both breathing raggedly, Matthias kept her wrapped in his arms. God help me, Anna. I love you so much it terrifies me. I love you too, she whispered, even though it scares me. Especially because it scares me. He kissed her forehead, her temple, her cheek. Small, reverent kisses that felt like promises. Come inside, he murmured. Before you freeze. but neither of them moved. They stayed wrapped together in winter cold, holding on to each other, finally admitting what had been growing between them since a stranger walked into the wrong wedding and found exactly who she needed. The call came on a frozen morning 2 days before Christmas. Anna was sketching in the conservatory, Matthias reading nearby, both of them warm and content in their small bubble of happiness. When his phone rang, he glanced at the screen, frowned, excused himself with a gentle touch to Anna's shoulder. "I'll just be a moment." Anna nodded, returning to her work. But she heard his voice through the library door. Sharp, cold Daniel. Matthias's tone held warning. "What do you want?" She hadn't heard him sound like that before. "That's not your concern," Matthias said. "The estate isn't for sale. It never will be." Silence. "Then, you don't know what you're talking about." Anna's stomach clenched. Something was very wrong. "Don't threaten me," Matthias said, voice dropping to something dangerous. Moved closer to the library door. It wasn't fully closed. "That's none of your business," Matthias said. "Anna is my wife. This is real. You have no right to question it." Anna's breath caught. "Wife? Real?" Why did he sound so defensive? "I don't care what Caroline told you," Matthias continued. "Leave this alone, Daniel. Leave us alone, Caroline." The woman who was supposed to marry him, the one Anna had accidentally replaced. "I won't sell you part of the estate just to keep you quiet," Matthias said, his voice hardening. "Grandmother's wishes matter more than your greed." "Then I'll tell her the truth." The voice on the other end was cold, calculated, loud enough for Anna to hear. "That you faked this entire wedding to secure your inheritance. That this woman isn't who you claimed. That you lied to a dying woman just to get what you wanted." Anna's world tilted. Faked lied inheritance. Her hands went cold. "You have no proof of anything," Matthias said. "I have Caroline. She's willing to testify the arrangement was purely transactional, that Anna Sinclair was never part of the original plan. How long do you think grandmother will last when she learns her beloved grandson deceived her on her deathbed?" "All for money." Anna backed away from the door, nausea rising. This was never real. He'd needed a wife to secure his inheritance. She'd been convenient, a mistake turned useful. All his kindness, his protection, his careful declarations of love. They were just part of the performance, making sure she stayed long enough to satisfy the arrangement. Owen's voice whispered through her memory. "No one will love you without conditions, Anna. No one will want you for who you are." He'd been right all along. Anna moved mechanically up the stairs into her room. She'd added so little, left such a small footprint, because some part of her had known she didn't really belong here. She could still hear Matthias downstairs, voice raised, defending the estate, fighting to keep his inheritance, not defending her, never her. Anna packed quickly, hands shaking, throat burning with tears she refused to shed until she was far away. She wrote a note with trembling fingers. "You deserve peace. I'll make sure no one knows the truth. Thank you for the kindness. It was more than I deserved." Anna, she slipped out through the kitchen, got in her old sedan. The engine protested the cold, but finally turned over. Anna drove away from Beaumont House, with snow falling and her vision blurred, and the terrible certainty that she'd been foolish enough to believe in love one more time. Behind her, Matthias ended the call with his cousin. Walked back to the library, saw the note on his desk. He read it once. Twice, the words blurred. "Anna," he whispered. "No, God, no. Please." He ran to the conservatory, empty. Her room, empty the driveway. Fresh tire tracks and new snow, already filling in. She was gone. Matthias sank to his knees in the snow, the note crushed in his fist. She thought she'd complicated his life, thought he'd been fighting for the estate. She hadn't heard him tell Daniel, "I don't care about the inheritance. I care about Anna." She hadn't heard him say, "The estate means nothing if she's not here." She'd only heard him fighting, and assumed the worst, because Owen had taught her that love always came with conditions. Matthias tore through every hotel in the Finger Lakes, called police, who gently explained that a woman leaving of her own accord wasn't a crime. Hired a private investigator. Came up empty. Anna had vanished as completely as she'd appeared. He stopped sleeping, stopped eating properly, spent hours staring at her unfinished illustration in the conservatory. Two creatures approaching each other across moonlit space. Almost touching, almost trusting. Her voice thin. "Worried. Matthias, dear, where's Anna?" "She's visiting a friend, grandmother in Connecticut. She'll call soon. Is everything all right? You sound terrible." "Everything's fine," he lied. Just tired. I'll visit tomorrow. He hung up. Stared at Anna's note, now crumpled from being read hundreds of times. Thank you for the kindness. It was more than I deserved. The words destroyed him. Because Anna deserved everything. Every kindness. Every protection. Every declaration of love. He'd been too careful to make clearly enough. And he'd lost her. That evening, Matthias drove to his grandmother's cottage, sat beside her bed, took her frail hand. "Grandmother," he said quietly, "I need to tell you the truth." Eleanor looked at him, sharp, despite her illness. "About Anna." He nodded. "The wedding wasn't what you thought. She walked into the wrong chapel by accident. We didn't know each other. It wasn't planned." Eleanor was quiet for a long moment. "I know," dear Matthias froze. "What?" "The way you looked at her. That was to frighten people finding each other when they needed it most." "Then why didn't you say anything?" "Because I watched you fall in love with her," Eleanor said simply. "Actual, terrifying, beautiful love that transformed you. I saw it every time you were together. The way she relaxed when you entered a room, the way you softened when she smiled." Matthias's eyes burned. "She's gone, grandmother. She thinks I only needed her for the inheritance," Eleanor asked firmly. "Tell her the truth that you love her. That the estate means nothing without her in it. What if she doesn't believe me?" "Then you keep trying," Eleanor said. "Love isn't a single grand gesture, Matthias. It's choosing someone every day, even when they've hurt you, even when you're terrified. You spent 16 years protecting yourself from being hurt again. Don't waste another 16 being too afraid to fight for what matters." Matthias kissed his grandmother's hand. "Now, go get your wife before she convinces herself she doesn't deserve happiness." He drove back to the estate, went through Anna's room systematically, found a sketchbook she'd left behind, pages filled with gentle watercolor worlds. The last page stopped his heart. It was them, Matthias and Anna, standing together in the conservatory, her painting, him watching her with obvious tenderness. Below it, in her delicate script, safety. She'd drawn them like one of her children's book illustrations. Protected, peaceful home. Matthias closed the sketchbook, carefully made a decision. He called every contact he had, called in favors, searched credit card records through his lawyer. Anna had made it to Vermont before her money and courage both ran out. The hotel was cheap, clean enough. She'd picked up 2 rush illustration jobs from former clients, worked 18-hour days to avoid thinking about Beaumont House, or Matthias's voice saying he was falling in love with her. All performance, all pretense. She'd been so stupid. The knock on her door came on the 7th evening. Anna almost didn't answer, but something made her check the peephole. Exhaustion carved into his face. Holding her sketchbook, her heart stopped. She opened the door slowly. "How did you find me?" "I called every hotel in a 200-mile radius," Matthias said quietly. "I wasn't going to stop until I found you." "You should have stopped," Anna whispered. "You should have let me go." "I can't," his voice cracked. "Anna, please. Let me explain. I heard you," she said, fighting to keep her voice steady. "I heard you fighting with your cousin about the estate, about the inheritance, about how I wasn't part of the original plan. I know this was all transactional, Matthias. I was convenient. A mistake turned useful. You didn't hear everything." He stepped closer, desperate. "You didn't hear me tell Daniel I don't care about the inheritance, that it means nothing without you. You didn't hear me say I'd give up the entire estate if it meant protecting you." Anna's breath caught. "That's not true." "It is." Matthias held up the sketchbook, opened it to the last page. "The drawing of them together. You drew this. You titled it Safety, Anna. That's what you are to me, not an arrangement. You're the first person who made me believe that love without transaction could exist." Tears burned her eyes. "I don't know how to believe that." "Then let me prove it," Matthias said desperately. He moved closer, close enough that she could see he'd been crying, that he hadn't slept, that he looked as broken as she felt every day for as long as it takes. "I will choose you without conditions, Anna, without needing anything in return. I will love you whether you stay or go, whether you trust me again or not." "Matthias, I went to my grandmother," he interrupted. "I told her the truth about the accidental wedding, about everything, and she said she already knew. She'd known from the beginning. She watched us fall in love. Anna, real love. Not pretend, not transactional. Real." Anna's tears fell. "But the inheritance. I don't care about the inheritance." His voice broke completely. "I don't care about the estate, or the money, or any of it without you there." You're not a means to an end, Anna. You're the end. The only one that matters. The only one I want. He cupped her face with shaking hands. I love you, not the arrangement, not the performance. You, the woman who creates gentle worlds, because the real one hurt her. The woman who walked into the wrong wedding and saved me when I didn't even know I needed saving. The woman who taught me that safety isn't about walls, it's about finding someone who sees you and stays anyway. Anna sobbed. I love you too. That's why it hurt so much. Because I finally felt safe, and then I thought it was all fake. It was never fake, Matthias whispered fiercely. From the moment you took my hand at that altar, it was the most real thing I've ever felt. Every moment since then has been me falling deeper in love with you and being terrified you'd realize you deserved better. There is no better, Anna breathed. There's just you. And I was so scared you'd realize I'm not worth. He kissed her deep, desperate, cutting off her words with his mouth, pouring every unspoken promise into the connection between them. Anna kissed him back with everything she had, her hands fisted in his shirt, pulled him into the room, held on to him like he might disappear. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, both crying, Matthias pressed his forehead to hers. Come home, he whispered. Come home because it's where you belong, where we belong, together. Anna nodded. Okay. Take me home, Matthias. He pulled her into his arms, held her so tightly she could barely breathe. I've got you, I promise always. For real this time. Every day, Anna melted into him. I'm sorry I ran, she whispered. I'm sorry I didn't make it clearer how much you mean to me. He pulled back just enough to see her face, wiped her tears with gentle thumbs. No more misunderstandings, no more assumptions. If you're scared, you tell me. If I'm scared, I tell you. We face it together. Deal, Anna agreed. He kissed her again, softer this time, a promise instead of desperation. And for the first time, Anna believed completely that someone could love her without conditions, without needing her to be smaller, without expecting payment for basic kindness. Matthias loved her, just her exactly as she was, and that was more than enough. 6 months later, spring arrived at Beaumont House in waves of apple blossoms and warm wind through open windows. Eleanor Beaumont had passed peacefully in late February, surrounded by the people she loved. Her final words to Matthias, a whispered blessing. She's the best thing that ever walked through the wrong door. He did, every single day. Anna's illustration career had flourished. Her latest book about a lost creature finding unexpected shelter during a storm had landed on bestseller lists. Critics called it achingly gentle and a masterpiece of quiet hope. Children's hospitals requested copies. Teachers used it in classrooms. The story resonated because it was real, because Anna had lived it. Matthias had donated a significant portion of the estate grounds to a local arts foundation in his grandmother's memory, created studios for artists who needed space and time, made the Beaumont estate a sanctuary for creative healing. The inheritance didn't matter anymore. Nothing mattered except the life they'd built together. That May morning, Anna painted in the conservatory while Matthias pretended to read nearby. Really, he was just watching her work. The way her hair caught the light, the small smile that appeared when she got a color exactly right, the peace that had settled over her features in the months since she'd stopped running. You're staring, Anna said without looking up. I like looking at you. She glanced at him, smiled. I like being looked at. I have something for you, he said. Anna looked up. He was holding a small velvet box. Her breath caught. But that was an accident. Nothing like the transactional arrangement from a year ago. Anna Sinclair Beaumont, Matthias said, taking her paint-stained hand in his. Will you marry me again properly this time? In front of everyone who matters, because I choose you every day, for the rest of my life. Not because of any arrangement, not because of convenience. Because I love you more than I thought it was possible to love anyone. Tears streamed down Anna's face. Yes, of course, yes. He slipped the ring on her finger, pulled her up into his arms, kissed her with everything they'd survived and overcome and chosen despite the fear. When they pulled apart, Anna cupped his face, looked into his gray eyes that had first seen her terror in a chapel, and responded with steadiness. Instead of judgment, I love you, Matthias. You taught me what safety really means. What it's like to be chosen without conditions. I love you, he said. You taught me that love without transaction does exist. That letting someone in isn't weakness. that the bravest thing I ever did was take your hand that day and decide to protect you. They stood together in the conservatory where Anna had first started healing. Spring light poured through windows. Anna asked, "A real one this time?" "We already had a real one," Matthias said softly. "The moment you took my hand and trusted me, when you had every reason not to. The moment I saw your fear and chose to anchor you, instead of expose you. That was real, Anna. Everything since then has just been us learning how to keep choosing each other." Anna smiled through her tears. He kissed her again. Soft, sure, full of promises they'd both keep. To people who'd walked into the wrong wedding and found exactly what they needed. Who'd learned that sometimes the wrong door leads to the right person. That love without conditions does exist. That safety isn't about walls or perfection or never being scared. It's about finding someone who sees you at your most terrified and says, "I've got you," and means it always. If you made it all the way to the end, please subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. I'd love to hear from you. On a scale of 0 to 10, how did this story make you feel? Drop your rating in the comments. I'll read every single one. I'm truly grateful you're here. See you in the next story.